gets berated on the podcast we've created to commemorate action flicks, big horror, no tricks. John Travolta, Chuck Norris, insane clown posse, no fuss, no mercy, we discuss. Everything gets berated, no one is underrated. From the screen to the stage, except a new cage. No mercy, we engage.
Welcome to Everything Gets Berated, where we talk about everything other than independent horror. I'm Amferny.
What if we call it Uri thing? Like E-R-R-Y. Uri thing gets berated.
We could.
Boom. That's how we're just going to introduce it. Uri thing. And I'd be like, that's not how you spell it. But what is up? How am I spill my drink, dude? Right on my motherfucking laptop. I am Brian with a B. What's that? Should I say Brian W. Ford /A capital B?
You could say that.
That'd be way too long of a name.
It would be. People would be like
Conan the Destroyer Barbarian. He was also in the movie and he punched a horse. Arnold. What? No. Yeah. But what tonight? Again, man. We're going back to movies that when we were younger, we were like, dude, that movie I swear used to be pretty cool, And actually, I just spoke with my family. I have a big family, in case you knew that.
Yeah,
but so every week, all of us try to get on a call and talk to each other, Yeah. And I talked about this movie, and they're like, "What are you talking about? That was a good movie." I was like, "Dude, what does this tell you? Watch it." Like, probably when it was made. And I'm like, "Okay, so that was 40 years ago." So
watch it now.
Movie,
like, what? That happened?
Yeah. So the movie that we are berating this evening is Howard the Duck.
Yup.
When was 1986 or something like that?
86.
Yeah. So basically, if you haven't seen Howard the Duck, this is the gist of it, is that there's a parallel universe. I wonder if that's where Marvel got its fucking idea. So there's parallel universes and also Spider-Man into the multiverse and stuff like that. But parallel universe where everybody is ducks. Literally, everybody is ducks. There's Playboy Duck, or Play Duck, and there's probably action hero ducks and duck warriors, everything like that. So somehow Howard gets transported in his lazy boy to our dimension, our world, and he gets chased down by some scientists because they're the only ones that are like, wait a second, why the fuck is there a duck here that's, talking everything? Now, everybody else give a shit about it. And then they find out that, it is, now that I'm saying it out loud, that they're going to try to open up the portal to try to send him back. But when they open up the portal, other beings from outer space are coming over to destroy the world.
The alien
sounds
overlords.
like the Avengers.
A little bit.
But yeah, so that's basically the gist of the movie. And Howard has to save the world. I don't know about you, but if there's all right, Brian, your life depends on this 4-foot tall duck human saving your life, I'd be like, you know what? I'm going to take my chances and I'm going to fight the Dark Lord by myself.
I might just take the Nestea plunge off of a building. I don't know. I think we're screwed.
That's the one that's going to be the savior of the world. Some random, but we'll get into it. I mean, it was a nice guy. He's a lot better than a bunch of citizens in this world right now. I can say that. But
yeah. Which okay, this movie was directed by Willard Huyck. I think I'm saying that right. Lea Thompson stars in this movie, who was one of the 80s it girls.
Not the one from. Yeah, I know which one she was. For some reason, I was thinking the girl from
the rock singer.
Yeah, I was thinking Wayne's World. Who's that lady?
Oh, Tia Carrera.
No.
Yeah, from
Wayne's
World.
Is that her name? Who's that stupid girl from MTV?
I don't remember.
Never mind.
All the VJ names start to run together. And then Jeffrey Jones plays Dr. Jennings, who he was the
God.
principal in
Ferris Bueller.
Ferris Bueller, yeah. Tim Robbins plays Phil, the research assistant.
Dude, there's so many people in this movie
Oh my
that
god,
are still making movies today.
it's nuts.
And you're like, dude, look at this. Still in the game after 40 years. That's fucking nuts, man.
A weird one. Paul Guilfoyle plays Lieutenant Welker, who also played the cop in CSI, and probably played a shit ton of other cops.
Well, didn't he play? He played the Leprechaun, Howard the Duck. He was a Leprechaun, I think, in Leprechaun 2.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he wasn't Chucky. I don't think he was Chucky. I think he was just Leprechaun.
Yeah. Tim Rose played Howard T. Duck.
God, Howard T. Duck. Come on,
Howard T. Duck.
come on, man.
Oh, and the other one, Holly Robinson Pete from Hanging with Mr. Cooper was KC. I don't remember her where she was in this movie, which we should also mention, by the way. This was a New World Pictures Marvel movie because they owned Marvel's television and movie rights for a while. Before it reverted back to Marvel, and then they tried to start their own thing in the early 2000s.
Bingo. So what? It opens up in the, like we mentioned, the parallel universe where everything is ducks, movie posters, TV shows, porn, you name it. And then when he starts, yeah.
Which, okay, this brings me to my first question. This was supposed to be for kids, right?
Dude, that's why we're tough.
I'm legitimately asking that question because in the first 20 minutes, I don't even
think 20.
We get 2 sets of human-looking duck boobs and a condom in a wallet.
Yeah, but it was a weird condom. It looked like, But going back to the duck pits,
he is a duck.
Like, really? Like, I started watching this with Kane, and I was like, hopefully he doesn't.
This is weird and on the edge.
Right? Like, what the hell is that? And then he's getting sucked through space. But then here's a question. How is he breathing through space?
That is a great question because he lives on a planet, which, like, did they have like an ozone that held their, are they oxygen breathers? We're not told any of this.
Dude, I'm pretty sure they were, man. Just by everything else.
Because he flies through space outside of his atmosphere. So
who knows? But then he lands in front of a bunch of transgender fucking bikers that were called Satan sluts.
My take on them, I thought this was sort of like they just watched Rocky Horror Picture Show and decided they were going to create a gang. Like, that's the way it felt. Like, we're about to do the time change again.
So the thing that was so weird to me is that he landed in front of this biker gang. This biker gang just doesn't give a shit about him or it at this point because they don't know what the hell this thing is. And they just grab him and bring him into a bar and start hanging out with him. Then everybody tries to fight him. And again, nobody gives a shit that there is a duck that is
speaking English
and talking to them and fighting them. And then the lead singer of the band she gets jumped by those singers she gets jumped, right? And then Howard the Duck is like, I know Quack Fu.
Yeah, I know Quack Fu. Yeah, like.
And then he fights everybody. And then guess what? Still, nobody gives a shit that it's a duck.
It's a duck. Yeah, I know. Like that's the thing is if they had this movie felt like 2 different movies to me, and the first movie is Howard the Duck does human things and nobody is batting an eye that he's doing human things, and I would watch that movie all day. I think that movie is hilarious.
It was.
Then they throw in the Overlord thing later, and it feels weird.
Everything is just so weird because, it reminds me of, the South Park episode where the alien comes down and he pretends that he's a bad guy and he, is going to do bad things to their town, and they kill the alien. And when they kill the alien, all of a sudden the space cops show up, and they're just like, like, hey, what's going on? And they're like, nothing. We're looking for this guy. And they're like, nope, haven't seen him. And they're like, you haven't seen him? They're like, no. They're like, well, it's really weird because we're aliens, and this is how you act if this is the very first time you've ever seen an alien. And they're like, oh, what? Yeah, hold on, whoa. And they're so amazed. They're like, huh. So clearly you've seen an alien before, because when we showed up, you didn't give a shit.
Exactly.
So that's what, like, there's a duck. Literally, if I saw a duck doing fucking quack foo, I'd be like, what the hell? Like, babe, you're never going to believe what happened. And nobody would believe you.
No, they wouldn't. They would think you're crazy.
And then they start chasing them, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the very first thing they do is they go back to her apartment, and he's like, I want a beer.
Oh,
And
wait.
so
before we get there, the music note that I have, the music was telling you what they're thinking in their head. As like, and there's that part where, and he's like, well, the Cleveland, and like all of a sudden they like, like part and stuff, Yeah.
And how did he know what? You couldn't give me $10. I couldn't name. Is it a Providence in like Australia? It's not a state.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You couldn't tell me, okay, name 5 cities in England. I'd be like, but now name 5 cities in fucking a far, far galaxy. I'd be like, what?
Huh? Yeah. But no, there's that, like, they're separated by the pillar and they're staring at each other, and the music, it literally, like, I maybe it doesn't exactly say this, but it was like two people standing at a distance in the rain. And it's like, I have eyes. They work.
Yeah, I know what's going on.
Yeah, they don't know who each other are. We got it. Cool. Like, you don't need to tell me that part.
Yeah, there were some times where you read the captions and it is exactly that, where it's like, duck, he's gonna punch you, and you're just like, oh shit, thanks, DJ. Like, I didn't know that. Yeah. So then what? She finally takes him to somebody who gives a shit and is shocked that there's a duck right there.
Which, okay, yeah, when she takes him home, that's the part. He falls asleep. She opens his wallet and pulls out pulls out the condom.
What a nerd.
Yeah, but yeah, so yeah, you're sorry. Continue.
No, yeah. So, and then he goes to and then here's something. I've been to hundreds of museums in my life. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So they bring this duck, to the museum or science lab, whatever the fuck it is. And the scientist's like, oh my God, the evolution chart. It wasn't a monkey that was the dominant species. It was a duck. Really? I literally saw a video of a fucking monkey murdering a duck like today, where it just takes the duck by the head and it fucking Hulk smashes it like he did to Loki. And I was like, my God.
These are by far the worst scientists ever, considering, like, when you're talking about natural evolution, apex predators are always at the top of the list.
Yeah, it was the duck species, not a monkey. And then here's another thing. You've probably been to museums. Have you ever seen the fucking evolution chart of a monkey? Or of a duck, I mean?
Of a duck? No. Of, like, Australopithecus and all the other ones? Yeah. Like, apparently they have a duck, yeah.
This is what it would be if it was a monkey. This is what it would be if it was a duck. This is what it would be if it was a cat.
Well, I think he was, like, imagining it in his head as he's staring up, because, like, this is his key to become the scientist.
I'm pretty sure that it was there. I'm pretty sure it was there. And then the reason why is because it turns out that fucking guy wasn't even the goddamn scientist. He was a janitor at the fucking museum.
Was he a janitor or a research assistant? I couldn't.
No, he was a janitor because, like, hey, there's a big pile of puke over there.
Can you go get that, please?
Dude, right? Embarrassed him. He's sitting there trying to get it in and learning about this new species. There's like, hey, Carl, go get some fucking dust and go pick up the sawdust and pick up the kid's puke.
Well,
like, his name is Joe Dirte.
Because he's into Beverly, the singer from the Lea Thompson's character from the rock band. And apparently they dated at some point.
And then she found out that he was a janitor, not a scientist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so where did we go from here? I'm trying to remember the movie.
I think a kid runs up and touches him.
Oh yeah, they're outside of the museum now, and the kid runs up and touches him, and the mom doesn't freak out.
Yeah, you're just like, what the hell?
She thinks he's a mascot or something.
Yeah, and then they get into a fight, and that's when they split up, right?
Oh yeah, and then 2 days into his existence on Earth, he goes to
the part that I'm saying he's a lot better than a lot of fucking citizens right now.
He goes to collect unemployment,
and he gets a job, and he has his own apartment, and like everything about this dude. Like, how does he know? Who? Like, you don't know his education. You don't have what? You don't have his resume. Like, what the hell? How did you all of a sudden just give him a job, give him an apartment? What? Within 2 days? Hey, you know what? You look trustworthy. You're an alien. You're a fucking alien. I'm going to give you a job. And what?
I mean, maybe they thought he was like, like one of these furries or something, but he just like lives the lifestyle.
Yeah. And then she starts beating him up because she's like, you're just a lazy motherfucker. And she started hitting him. She's like, you're just being lazy. You're trying to collect unemployment and all this other shit. And you're just like, what the hell? He's a duck.
That's why they send you to me.
What the hell? Right?
I like that lady. She was entertaining.
Yeah. And then I think he gets a job, right? He gets a job at like a bathhouse.
Yeah, he gets a job at a bathhouse, and he needs to go into the water to clear the plug,
gross stuff,
fish out the clog in the drain.
How's other scenes that there's some chesticles?
This is very clearly like a sexy bathhouse, if you will, like
a shitty party bathhouse.
This was another time I was like, if this movie is for kids,
there was some nudity in there, but they were covered in that mud.
I'm wondering, like, who is this made for?
Dude, he got that. And I was like, hopefully my kid's not paying attention all the way right now. You know? But yeah. He gets a job at a bathhouse, and then
he dumps the owner of the bathhouse into the mud and quits.
Right. Oh, that's my only weakness is mud. He probably was just upset because he knew how many children are swimming around in there.
Yeah.
If you know what I'm saying.
Well, yeah. I mean, people are getting it on. I mean,
that was just a regular hot tub, but all the dirt that's in there turned into a mud bath.
It's a mud hot tub. It's a mud tub.
That's a backdoor tub. They're like, come here after you have Del Taco and go to a fucking swimming hole. You know, you're supposed to wait like 24 hours after you have diarrhea before you get into a pool, a body of water, something like that.
Oh yeah, yeah.
There's like, this is, go ahead, eat. Don't get in the pool 30 minutes, There's no rules here. You had diarrhea in the pool this morning, come on in. We've got room for you. Dude.
So much bacteria in there.
Yeah. But that's when they just throw a bunch of chlorine in it.
It's a fucking petri dish.
Then what? He at some point he sees a TV and it's all duck violence.
Oh yeah. And he's like freaked out by it.
And he's all mad.
Because apparently this was a common shot in like 80s movies where people would walk by a store that had a wall of televisions. Because I haven't seen this in any other decade.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah. And he sees all the violence and the ducks and shit like that. And that sets him off. But then doesn't he get another job at like a bar where he's checking IDs?
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And then he gets into a fight at that bar. And the funny thing was like the gang that he was fighting, they're all smoking those like Virginia Slim cigarettes. And you're like, come on, man.
Like, when did you run into a gang of people that really like to sit down and talk about The Great Gatsby?
Dude, it was just one of those. I mean, like, I don't smoke, but if somebody came up to me and be like, you want to fight? And they had like a Virginia Slim, I'd be like, come on, man. Quit playing around.
I like my cigarettes to last longer.
Dude, and it has like he has smoking Cruella de Vil style or whatever. Right?
Yeah.
And so then he realizes what? There's a bookie or there's somebody, a band manager who isn't going to give the girl their money.
Yeah, he's
so
shorting them their money. Yeah, so he beats up the manager. And then he tells her, like, what is it? He tells her, I solved your problem with the manager. You'll be getting your money from now on. And also you need a new manager.
But remember, he's jumping up and he like grabs a knife and stabs the guy through his loop earring.
Oh, that's right.
Like, whoa, whoa. And then he throws a knife and it goes through the other guy's loop earring. You're like, you already did that. You already did that scene. And then he's like, I'll give you space rabies. And like he's trying to bite people.
Oh, yeah.
Right. And then there was the other girl in the band who looked like fucking Rufio from Hook.
Oh, yeah. Which, okay, this place that they're performing at, like, are the conditions so terrible that you have to perform behind a cage, what's the name of that type of fence? Like a chain link
roadhouse.
Fence. Yeah, like a chain link fence cage.
Yeah, it's a chicken wire fence, but it's
literally somebody could just like lean on it and push it over because it's not anchored into anything.
Yeah, I think that it's for bottles being thrown. But here's something. Don't play shitty music. You know what I'm saying? All right. So yeah, with us, if we had a heavy metal goth band and somebody's like, hey guys, can you play at the this country western cafe or bar? I'd be like, no, we're not going to do that because we listen to ass rock goth music or whatever it is, and you guys listen to country music. So that's why if you go to a country bar, there's going to have country people that want to listen to country music, and for the most part their stage isn't barricaded up to protect them from people that get mad. If you watch the movie Roadhouse, they started throwing balls at those fucking people that were in the band because they're like, why are you playing fucking gospel music at a goddamn bar? See, exactly. That's what your problem is. So know your fucking role. If you were invited to play, it's the same thing. If I was there, it's like, hey, can you come over to my kid's birthday party and play music? I'd be like, well, we can't talk about, balls and shit like that. Otherwise, we'll put on the offenders list. Exactly. So that's what the cages are for. Like, just in case you come and you suck, here we go. So then, what? The doctor comes back and all of them are friends now.
Oh,
everything. Yeah. And so then...
this is when they tell him they have the laser and they're the ones that brought him to Earth, right?
Something I don't remember how or why he got there, but I just remember that all of a sudden the doctor's back and they're all honky-dory.
Yeah, so now like, but then the janitor is still like low-key trying to what is it? Like take him on the national news and show him off so he can like get some fame or whatever.
Yeah. And then she takes him back to her place. And at this point, you realize that, wow, chicken, wow, that she's into little ducks, which is weird.
Because she comes to bed in like a nightie.
In a teddy.
A teddy and a thong.
Yeah. And she's trying to get it in, and so's he,
And then the doctors show up.
And all of a sudden, all these people just roll into the apartment without permission and just cock block him, and you're just like, what the hell? How long? Like, here's a question, okay? If we did get invaded by like lizard people, or aliens, like how quick would you be like, hey, what's up, girl? You trying to get this human wiener? You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Like, how long has he been on Earth? Like a week now? And she's like, you know what? I really miss that duck dick.
It's weird. I'm sorry. Like,
dude, I've never even seen a duck wiener, but it's like a pig where it's like a corkscrew,
Well, I know that, like, I forget, it's a certain type of duck. It's like a mallard or something that, like, it has this, like, corkscrew penis that basically like sex is lethal for the female because it's
Jesus.
sharp.
Yeah, so then I remember at this point, my friend Dave was in town. And I put a note on this. I said, at this point in the movie, I apologize to my friend David because I was like, fuck, man, I'm sorry I made you watch this, because now the girl and Howard the Duck are falling in love and they're tied up in the back of a van and they're going to the lab to try to get him back home.
Oh, yeah.
And then I realized that there's still like an hour left in the movie. And I was like, bro, you got to last another hour, man. Yeah.
It's a long-ass movie.
It was. It was also funny because all of a sudden the lab starts blowing up.
Oh, yeah, because like somebody pressed some buttons and stuff, and the laser pulls the overlords in, right? This is when the overlords come.
And I just remember they started blowing shit up, and then there's all those military men. And they started like forcefully stripping Howard down, thinking that it was a suit. And he's like, "This is my skin,"
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Then yeah,
but yeah, this is when the overlords come and they take over Jennings, or the overlord comes and takes over Jennings.
Oh yeah, and then for some reason he takes that. There's a scene where he takes a cigar and throws it into like the garbage, and the cop is like goes 100% all in looking for that cigar, like head in the trash can, feet up in the air, like dangling and everything like that. Yeah. And then, of course,
they made their escape.
Yeah. So then when he's upside down dangling in a trash can, she takes his gun and she's like, "Book him, Ducky." What?
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God.
Get the hell out of here. Dude. Yeah. And then this is the part that I remember as a kid that I thought I remembered as a kid. But Dr. Jennings now, the principal.
He's still normal until they get to the cafe, right? Yeah.
No, he starts changing. And this is the part that I thought I remembered as a kid. Like, I swear that he got, like, greasy or slimy, like, hella a lot, Like, I thought that he was, like, super greasy and sweaty. But I kept waiting for it. I mean, yeah, he was profusely greasy and sweaty, but it wasn't as bad as it was when I was a kid. Because I remember that part of the movie, me being like, "Ugh, this is disgusting," like all gross and everything.
Yeah. It does become more unpleasant looking as it goes. Like they pronounce his head features, like his forehead and like his bone structure starts to like pop.
Yeah.
Like
there's funny ass
his hairline like starts to float to the back of his head. Like it's a pretty radical change for 3 days or whatever it is.
Yeah, it was so messed up because it was in front of like they're in like what, a Jeep Wagoneer or some shit.
Oh yeah.
And they're doing the high speed chase. That thing went on so many jumps, dude, but it was still drivable.
I know. They must have reinforced that chassis before they started that chase.
Yeah, dude, it was hilarious. And then they go to some restaurant. And again, if you're listening this far into it, I'm sorry.
This restaurant, I was trying to figure out from the outside. It has an Italian name. It looks like a 50s diner. And they sell sushi.
Try again. The specific kind of sushi. They sell Cajun sushi.
Cajun sushi.
I don't know what the fuck Cajun sushi is. I eat sushi multiple times a month, dude.
I was so lost as to what the business direction here was when they decided on this diner.
But the thing that is messed up is it's all white people, and there's one black dude who's in the back, but they're all wearing Japanese headbands.
Yes.
And everything. And then, what do you call it? They're at their table, and all of a sudden, Howard the Duck turns around and whistles like one of those assholes, like, hey, get over here. I want a beer. And he's like, hey, honey. And you're like, is that how they act over in fucking Duck Universe?
Or maybe he's just the rude duck. Like, There are polite ducks, and then there's Howard, and nobody likes dealing with Howard.
Yeah, well, I mean, because he looks like a dipshit, and then all of a sudden there's that dude from Dumb and Dumber, Seabass, shows up and
Oh,
wants
yeah.
to kick his ass, and they put pie in his face,
Oh, that's right.
and then they keep getting pies thrown in their face, and the reason why is because nobody moves left or right.
I know.
They move forward, back. You're just like, you can move left and right?
Go up and down, left and right, and wherever I aimed, just don't be there.
Yeah, exactly. And then finally, everybody gets a hold of Howard, and there's like, let's fucking kill him and cook him. And you're like,
Okay.
that's,
So they were gonna chop his head off and then defeather him.
Yeah.
Or were they just going to cook him with feathers on? Because I was very lost about that.
It did seem like they weren't going to defeather him, but you would need to, hopefully. But I mean, they sell Cajun sushi, so who fucking knows? But here's the thing, okay? Have you ever had duck?
Yes.
I fucking love duck, dude.
It's good.
Duck is amazing.
It's delicious.
However, Howard the Duck, I don't know if I can eat that. That's like a fucking, like, I'm pretty sure he probably doesn't taste like duck.
No. And he's an alien.
Yeah, so you don't even know, I guess thankfully his anatomy is the same as ours, I guess, even though he's a duck. Like, what the shit, man? So then all of a sudden, fucking, if you've made it this far again, Dr. Jennings turns into the last dragon and fucking saves Howard.
Yes. So
he gets the glow. When he got that glow, your body jumping. That was such a good song, man. I love that song. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so they make they know he's the overlord and he's going to try to bring his overlord friends to take over the earth. But they make
how they know that?
Because he told them.
No, because that big old dick looking thing came out of his mouth looking for Howard, and you're like, ooh, that wasn't there earlier.
Yeah,
that was gross.
But they make like an uneasy alliance to get out of the cafe.
Yeah, see, so he's still a good guy. I mean, he can shoot lasers through his mouth and his eyeballs, and he's super greasy. He's not liquefied yet.
Oh my god, he's like liquid death by the end.
He has a bunch of baby oil and Vaseline all over him, for sure.
I want, for a guy like Jeffrey Jones, who has done like Ferris Bueller and done serious movies, for them to be like, we need you to be really greasy, like uncomfortably greasy. Because he embraces this so well. Like, he becomes the character. Like, how uncomfortable was this that he was just like, man, fuck this shit.
They're like, here's just a bunch of petroleum jelly. Your pores aren't going to be able to breathe. And there's like, we didn't get it all in one shot. Tomorrow you got to come back and get lubed up again. He had to do it.
You better get it right this time.
Right. So, and then there's a scene where the janitor's arrested, right? And he's in the back of the car. And Howard the Duck goes and saves him, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. And then they find the hobby plane.
No, yes, they do. They do.
Which I feel so bad for this man that spent all this time building his hobby plane. They're going to steal this and destroy it.
To get stolen by a duck.
That can't drive anything.
Oh, yeah.
Until the end. Then he learns how to drive.
Is like the girl and Dr. Jennings drove all night to get to that plant. And you're like, weren't you in the same town?
To the nuclear power plant. Because,
they work there.
They work at the museum, right?
I thought Jennings worked at the power plant.
No, he's a doctor. He's one of the doctors at the museum. So he had to go to the power plant to go into the nuclear reactor.
Okay, because I was like, dude, if me and you ever made a movie and we did a montage of me driving through the night to get to your house, we're like, no, your house is a 4-minute drive. It's not a 13-hour drive.
Yeah.
That'd be absurd.
That'd be weird, yeah.
Yeah, and so then they take over the guy's power plane or whatever, hobby plane, but it doesn't fly. And so then they drove through the entire night, right? And it took Howard the Duck all night to build that plane because they didn't take off into the air until the next morning when the sun was up already.
Oh,
So they
yeah.
started spinning cookies in the fucking thing. And the cops were still waiting for them at that diner or that sushi place, you
Mhm.
know? And you're like, okay, so if it took them 12 hours to drive, how fast does that plane fly? How many hours is it going to take for that plane to
Oh,
get
my
from
God.
point A to point B? But anyways,
Painful.
the bad guy gets a visitor's uniform at the power plant. And so first off, that's where you're wrong. If you fucking ever see somebody come into your work looking like Dr. Jennings,
He
be
looked
like, you know what, sir? You clearly have a fever. You need to get the fuck away from people.
he looked insane.
You're
Like he's wearing
profusely, God.
and his hair is like going backwards and on end. Like he looks like
Dude, he looks so cracked out. Like he's soaking wet. Like he's glistening. Like Jesus. And there's like, are you sure you want to fucking tour the power plant, bro? Like,
and he's got this weird voice the entire time, like because when he's an alien, he's like,
yeah,
I
fucking
do.
gross.
I want my visit. Like,
Yeah, man.
it's like I get it. We don't discriminate against anybody. However, you look insane.
Yeah, like it's fucked up. And so then we cut back to Howard and I think the police officer. No,
Yeah.
Howard and who the fuck was Howard with? Oh, the janitor? No.
Oh
Yeah?
because he's the janitor is still handcuffed in the back of the plane, and in the back of the plane he's doing like
Donuts and shit.
like donuts, and he dumps he dumps Phil, the janitor, out of the plane, and he's hanging upside down. He has him underwater.
Well,
it's like
remember,
waterboarding Phil.
remember they were saying Howard the Duck doesn't fly. He was afraid to fly and everything like that.
Yeah.
You know? But then he thankfully, and I don't know if you ever noticed this in movies too, where they have the camera over the river or over the lake, and there's always something that's facing the water, and
Mhm.
thankfully there's always a jump. Like,
Oh yeah.
There's always a jump there. And so then they do this big ass jump, and then that's when they start flying, and that's when he starts getting waterboarded and shit like that. And
Phil even has to like get up and like fix the fuel hose because they're losing power. Like Phil is really the MVP of this flight because Howard has no idea what he's doing. He doesn't even know how to fly straight.
Yeah, there's no like again, I think that I'm decently masculine, but it's like, Brian, can you fucking jump on the back of a plane and connect these two tubes and get the gas going and everything? I'd be like, I can fly and you can do it. How about
Can
that?
you do that? I don't want to do that. Yeah.
It's shit like that. And so then by this time they cut back to fucking Jennings and he's completely fucked in half now. I remember his nails were so gross and they're at a truck stop and he starts blowing up cars and you're just like, just drive around them, man.
Like with his mind, right? He blows up the whole police stop.
Dude, it's so jacked up. And then
but like every time we see him, he gets worse and worse.
But then what? They crash into the pond now, Howard and the fucking janitor.
Howard and Phil, yeah.
Oh, well, I guess now that it makes sense that Howard was dry because he's a duck.
Yeah.
And the other guy was soaking wet. And then they hurry up and get into the lab where, I don't know if you ever worked at a lab before. I have not. But this lab apparently had a fucking 50 cal just chilling.
I was so confused. They work at a natural history museum that has munitions and weapons. Like, what
military grade.
Military grade weapons. I was very confused.
I had a friend who worked for some company, and part of his package was 2 free life flights a year. And you're like, what am I doing that I'm going to need 2 free life flights?
You're about to find out.
Like, what the hell? You know what I'm saying? If they're like, okay, Anthony, here's where we keep all the beakers, and here's the 50 cal and the ammunition, and over here is the break room. I'd be like, wait a second, what what was that previous room?
Yeah.
You have a fucking machine gun that you hook onto the back of goddamn Hummers. Like,
Seriously. So, like, we're at the point where Jennings is back at the lab, right? And he's trying to call the other overlords down.
yeah.
And so the weapon they need is a large laser that they're going to shoot at Jennings or
And then,
Overlord Jennings.
God damn it. And then he uses that big ass satellite as fucking to deflect the laser. And you're like, what?
I know.
What?
Like,
God damn
so
it.
confusing. Yeah, but my my other note on that was the laser is this giant laser attached to like
A golf cart.
like a one of those, industrial carts that you use to get around a lab or like a power plant.
Like in Austin Powers.
I'm gonna floor it.
Yeah. And did you notice the fucking Howard was Tokyo drifting everywhere he was turning?
But this is when he knows how to drive. He starts doing hard swerves.
Yeah. Tokyo drifting. And so they hit Jennings, and what do you call it? The Dark Overlord leaves Jennings' body, and now it's just flying around.
Which
And
we
he's like,
don't
I'm a big crab,
like.
scorpion.
Well, yeah, but the
monster.
way they get there is so strange because like they take, you see Jennings go down, they walk up to Jennings, and then he's normal Jennings again. Like, which his human body is amazingly resilient, that he is not just physically destroyed at this point.
Did you see what came out of you, bro? Like, what the
I
fuck?
know. Like, this is the miracle of birth, like before your eyes. But like, and then he has to tell them that like the Overlord left my body.
Yeah, I can clearly see you're no longer sweating. You fucking, your hair is back to normal. Your fingernails are fucking Jesus, look like a human again.
I'm still trying to figure out how that happened, and he doesn't look ridiculous anymore.
Right? You fucking, it's not like if you get like food poisoning and then the next day you feel better, you're not like, damn, you back to normal. No, it takes a day or two.
Oh, you got to fluid back up and, like be able to poop again and stuff. Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
So then what the monster grabs Howard, right? And then thankfully there's that saw right there to chop off the Dark Overlord's arm when he grabbed Howard. And you're like, again, why do you have a saw right there? Like, it's just me? It's nuts.
Yeah, I know. It's very strange. This whole lab museum connection thing is very confusing. They have a lot of things they shouldn't have.
It's so messed up. And then when the people were dying, those graphics were just like the pixelated things being deleted.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, man. And then
he takes out the Overlord, which, okay, I did like that we actually in these movies to kind of like cheap out on CG or on graphics and stuff. You'd be like, it's the threat of the Overlord. If he leaves this body, the Earth is going to get taken over. Like, we never get to see what it looks like, right? But in this one, they let you see.
Yeah. Well, then finally it comes to an end where they only have enough power to either shoot the alien into space or Howard can go to space. But it was just in time when Howard, again, all of a sudden there was a bazooka there. So Howard bazookas the fucking things back into space, and then Howard stays on Earth.
Which, I mean, was this really that difficult of a choice? It's like, like it would pretty much just be like, Howard, I know you do or don't want to be here, but that's not the point. Like, we don't want to die, so you're staying.
Yeah.
But they make it seem like it's his brave choice to stay.
Right. And he's like, yeah, I'll stay. And there's like, oh, thankfully. And there's like, guess what? And then what are you going to do now? You don't have anybody in your own species. You don't have
He's not technically a citizen of the Earth.
Yeah, what the fuck?
Like, how do you survive?
He's Howard the Duck, man. And then
I guess, yeah.
it comes that awesome song, Howard the Duck.
And
Yeah,
now
man.
Phil, the janitor, is now their manager.
I didn't think so. I thought that Howard the Duck was a manager.
He's the manager, but Phil also works for them.
Yeah, everybody needs a janitor. You gotta pick up all that shit.
Everybody, is he like a roadie?
Yeah, dude. That
But
movie.
okay, we forgot one of the most ridiculous parts because we kind of flew by it. Like when they're tying down Howard in the cafe, like she yells out, "Stop! That's my boyfriend!" And everybody stares at her like she's insane
You
because
missed that one, man.
she is.
Exactly.
Like, this is the one time that I was like, I don't like you guys, but
Like, what's
your
that
reaction is correct.
that movie with they were making fun of like all the alien movies and everything like that. And the guy comes over there and like the alien comes over there and like shoves his fingers in the guy's mouth. He's like, ugh, you know. He's like, what the hell? He's like, oh yeah, something. And then it shows the next alien and he's pissing, but he's pissing from his fingers. So that alien just went and shoved his fucking dick in that dude's mouth.
Oh, that Scary Movie 4. I think it's scary. Yeah, I think it's Scary Movie 4.
You know they're bringing back Scary Movie?
Yeah, I'm excited.
I saw on the news this morning.
It's the weigh-ins. They're back.
Yeah. So then, what? Credits roll.
Yeah. But, okay, so
Howard the Duck.
I love the beautiful train wreck that this movie is. And I don't want it to change a thing. My biggest question that I've already brought up is, who is this movie for? Because if you're aiming at kids, this is not for kids. If you're aiming at people that like ridiculous movies, absolutely.
Yeah, it was. It said it was kids, man.
This is not for kids. This is disturbing.
Well, I mean, I guess it depends on how old of a kid. You know, if your kid saw it, he'd be like, okay.
Oh, everything just flew over his head when he watched it.
Yeah, but my kid, he would have probably been like, wait a second. You know? Yeah. But, I mean, I'll still, I guess, like it. I mean, I'm probably not going to watch it again.
It's entertaining, but I don't.
Yeah, entertaining for sure.
Yeah.
Like I said, when I was a kid, I watched it. I was like, yeah, this movie was cool. Now going back and watching, I was like, wait a second. As a kid, it's probably super cool. But then as an adult watching it, you're like, what the hell?
I know.
You know? But,
all right. Well, thank you for listening, and we'll talk to you next time.
Indeed.